Hello and welcome to Awaz News. I'm Kubra Ali and I'll be taking you through big news across Canada.
Pierre Poilievre criticizes Liberal government's record in fiery House of Commons speech. Heavy rain, thunderstorms in the forecast as Toronto remains under rainfall warning. Toronto jazz musician fatally struck in collision remembered as talented, beautiful person. How the City of Toronto plans to redesign vacant home tax program. Grandparents scam north of Toronto costs residents $6,000 when suspect outstanding police. Woman found deceased in Richmond Hill home was killed by her son, police. Toronto driver who allegedly struck and killed 26-year-old cyclist charged, police.
These were the headlines and now let's jump right into the details.
Pierre Poilievre kicked off today's proceedings in the House of Commons with a powerful 20-minute bilingual speech. He detailed the failures of the Liberal minority government and gave a glimpse into the policies he would enact if he were Prime Minister.
We will cap government spending with a dollar-for-dollar law that requires we find $1 of savings for every new dollar of spending.
Poilievre didn't hold back, taking aim squarely at the Trudeau government. His main focus, affordability crisis gripping the country, which he blamed on rising housing shortages and inflation. In his view, the federal carbon tax has only worsened the situation.
We have a common sense plan to axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. Axe the tax. This will be a carbon tax referendum, a carbon tax election.
But the Liberals fired back, accusing Poilievre of not telling the full story. They defended their federal carbon pricing strategy, emphasizing its role as a carbon tax and rebate program aimed at tackling climate change.
The size of the carbon rebate has become really significant. The price on pollution is something that leaves 8 out of 10 families better off. This truly is an affordability measure.
Meanwhile, the NDP and Bloc Québécois have made their positions clear. They won't be backing the Conservative motion to topple the government. Both parties used their time during Tuesday's confidence vote debate to criticize not only Trudeau but Poilievre, who represents the riding of Carleton.
Let's review the member for Carleton's record on cuts to healthcare. He voted against dental care. He voted against farmer care. He voted to cut healthcare time and time again.
As this intense debate wraps up late Tuesday, all eyes are on the vote set to take place Wednesday afternoon, a vote that, according to insiders, the Conservatives are expected to lose. Toronto has already seen a month's worth of rain in the last 3 days and is expected to see more precipitation over the next several hours, an Environment Canada senior climatologist said on Tuesday. A rainfall warning is in effect for the city and many other regions across southern Ontario, with Environment Canada calling for up to 50 millimeters of rain. They have had a month's worth of rain in 2 days in September, and that same active weather system is still in play and is going to bring a weather system into the area, Dave Phillips told Awaz News on Tuesday afternoon. He said the region would see steady showers begin mid-afternoon before heavy rain arrives in the evening. The rain is going to get heavier and carry on right through to midnight, and then sometime around midnight or shortly after, you are going to actually not just hear the raindrops on your window, you are going to hear thunder boomers. You are going to have some thunderstorms, see lightning, and heavier rains will follow that, Phillips said. He noted that the rain is expected to taper off around noon Wednesday. According to Phillips, Toronto saw 75 to 76 millimeters of rain between Saturday and Monday. He said yesterday was the wettest September 23rd on record in the city. Toronto usually gets 69 millimeters of precipitation for the whole month of September. We know what that does to Toronto. With so much asphalt, pavement, and building material, there's no green space to soak up that rain, and so it's going to be a quick runoff, and that rain is going to create submerged underpasses and maybe lead to some flooded basements, Phillips said. After experiencing one of the wettest summers on record, Toronto saw a particularly long stretch of dry conditions early this month. Those dry conditions ended abruptly this week as more wet weather arrived. Phillips said dry conditions will follow the rain event with a 30% chance of showers for the last 2 days of the month. Sunshine and mild temperatures are expected to return later this week, and brighter weekend is on tap for the city. A woman fatally struck in a collision in the Junction neighborhood on Monday evening is being remembered as a wonderful and beautiful person who was a beloved member of Toronto's jazz community. On Wednesday, residents dropped off flowers and candles at a makeshift memorial at the corner of Annette Street and Pacific Avenue, where Julia Cleveland died. Toronto police said a Hyundai Elantra struck a Hyundai Tucson at the intersection and veered off onto the northwest corner, striking Cleveland and her partner John. She was pronounced dead at the scene, while John and driver of the Tucson were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. The cause of the collision is unknown. The world will not be the same without her, Cleveland's sister Tara told Awaz News. She said her sister, who was a jazz musician and composer, was working on some brand new compositions and was planning to perform them in about a month. She was so talented. It wasn't just her talent. She was just a genuinely amazing, beautiful person in every way. Tara said John had to perform CPR with a broken arm while they were waiting for paramedics to arrive. He's pretty banged up, and he's massively in shock, she said. He's an amazing guy, and they were very much in love with each other. In a separate statement, the family said Cleveland also worked as the finance manager for the Toronto Musicians Association, which was her way of giving back to the music community. Tara urged motorists to slow down and be careful on the road. The City of Toronto is still playing catch-up from last year's vacant home tax debacle. The vacant home tax program was created to discourage speculators from keeping empty homes to boost the housing supply in the city. However, about 20% of the property owners were unaware they needed to declare occupancy every year, prompting thousands to receive money-owing notices in the mail. In 2023, more than 169,000 complaints were filed, and around 1,100 still need to be reviewed. However, city staff has put forward a plan so history doesn't repeat itself. What the people experienced last year was terrible, heartbreaking, it's scary, Mayor Olivia Chow said. The city hopes to improve the vacant home tax and not eliminate it, saying it's crucial in dealing with Toronto's current housing crisis. There are a number of changes being recommended to the program for this year, which will be considered at next week's executive committee meeting. To improve communication, property owners would receive 2 direct mail notices, 2 emails, and 2 robocalls as necessary. Homeowners would also be able to make their declaration in various ways, online, in person, at a drop-in session, by paper, or through a newly created team at 311, which will be serviced in 180 languages. City staff also proposed changing the deadlines. Filing begins on November 1st, and homeowners would have until April 30th to align with the income tax deadline. Those who are billed would have an extra 3 months to pay or dispute the charge, making payments on the 15th of September, October, and November. Also, declaration fees would be waived until further notice. This year, the vacant home tax goes up from 1% to 3%. The city estimates that will generate $1.5 million to be reinvested into housing initiatives. A version of the notorious grandparent scam biked a Toronto area resident of $6,000 cash, and police say the 2 suspects were coming back for more. York Regional Police said they began investigating in July after the victim reported he had received phone calls from someone pretending to be a police officer. Investigators said that the ruse followed the grandparent scam playbook, and the victim was told their grandchild had been arrested and needed money for bail. The victim complied, and the suspects sent a courier to collect $6,000 cash from him, police said in a news release. Later that day, police added the suspect called again and said a gun was located inside the vehicle their grandchild was traveling in, and they now required an additional $7,000 to make bail. At that point, the victim realized they may have been caught up in the scam and called. Police investigators said the 2-month investigation ended with police identifying the charging 20-year-old Brampton resident Markel London with fraud over $5,000. One additional suspect who investigators believe to be an accomplice of London is still outstanding. Police describe the suspect as black male between 20 and 25 years old, 5'9", 150 pounds with black hair and medium build. The grandparent scam has been victimizing elderly residents across the country for years now, and according to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, Canadians lost more than $11.3 million to the scam in 2023. Police in New York region remind the public to be vigilant in the face of scam and call family member police if they suspect they are being targeted. A woman who was found deceased inside a home in Richmond Hill over the weekend was murdered by her son, say police. On Saturday at 8:25 a.m., York Regional Police attended a residence near Graysdale Drive and Shaftesbury Avenue north of Eglinton Mills Road and west of Yonge Street for a check welfare call. Inside the dwelling, officers found a deceased adult. The victim, whose identity was not immediately released until an autopsy was complete and next of kin were notified, has now been identified as 60-year-old Zomi Wong. Following a search, Wong's son, 23-year-old Henry I. of Richmond Hill, was located in Toronto and arrested. He has been charged with second-degree murder. A media officer told Awaz News that Wong and I lived in the home where she was found dead. Police said that there isn't any threat to the public. They are also not looking for any other suspects. The investigation is ongoing at this time. Anyone with the video surveillance footage from September 20th at 5 p.m. to September 21st at 9 a.m. in the area of Graysdale near Shaftesbury Avenue is asked to contact York Regional Police Homicide Unit at 1-866-876-5423 extension 7865 or homicide@yrp.ca or Crime Stoppers anonymously. A Toronto driver who allegedly struck and killed a 26-year-old cyclist in late August has turned himself into police. Emergency crews responded to the area of Burnham Thorpe Road and Kipling Avenue in Etobicoke just before 8:30 p.m. on August 24th for a call for a personal injury. Police said that a female cyclist was riding her bike westbound on Burnham Thorpe, just east of Kipling, when the driver, who was also headed westbound, struck her. The driver remained at the scene after the collision. The victim, who police have not identified, was transported to hospital with serious injuries. 1 week later, she was pronounced dead. Investigators previously asked the public for security or dashcam footage for the incident to identify the driver, and description of whom was not released, of 2019 Volkswagen Jetta. In an update on Tuesday, police said 28-year-old Andreas Eradatu surrendered to Toronto Police Traffic Services investigators. He's charged with dangerous conveyance causing death and careless driving causing death. Eradatu was scheduled to appear in a Toronto courtroom for a bail hearing on Tuesday. Police are asking anyone with the information about the incident to contact them at 416-808-1900 or Crime Stoppers anonymously.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.